Hey, Hawkeye fans, welcome back. Well, we are coming off a much needed bye week. We've got an incredible interview with Ethan Hurkett that you do not want to miss. And of course, the Hawks are traveling yet again, going far out east as they take on the Maryland Terrapins. We're going to preview that game. We're so glad you're back. This is Talkin Hawks presented by Hills Bank.
No matter where you are in life, Hills Bank is here to help you succeed.
Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hills Bank for the support you need to reach your goals.
It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com.
Because we believe banking is better through human connection.
Hills Bank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member.
Hi, Matt.
Hey.
How you doing?
Got us good?
Well, another day, and another day for some of the Hawks that need to recoup.
Yeah.
To get better.
Yep.
You think they are?
I would like to think so.
So if we're thinking about the bye week, what exactly, just do it really quickly, what exactly were they doing? Because this is the second bye week. You only probably had one when you were playing, right?
Right. We never had a second bye week, so I don't know if they went through different protocol. I'm sure this was all decided back last spring or summer, whenever the decision was made. Normally, they like to have stuff planned out in the future as much as possible, so that way there's no surprises in season. That's kind of the KF Iowa way. So I'm sure it was decided back then, but for one bye week, normally the ones are going to get maybe a drive or two. Indie periods cut down for the starters, but indie period goes up for everybody else. You're kind of in not necessarily spring form, but you're trying to get those other guys that need the reps, get plenty of reps. Even though Jackson Stratton could have arguably been the starter at the end of last game, I'm sure he got a ton of work this bye week. Hopefully we get Cade back. I've been hearing some good things that he might be able to go. Brendan Sullivan might be able to go. So we're hoping that, we've actually got a full room of quarterbacks again. Going into next week. But in Jay Higgins, I haven't heard too much about that. Obviously this comes out prior to depth chart. This comes out prior to KF's presser. So hopefully we're moving in the right direction. But again, those guys that are the ones and twos, one's a little less this week, especially now. It's kind of like a 2-game season, right? You just got to finish the year before you go into the bowl prep. So get those 2s and 3s, a lot more work. And the step in ones, like I said, like Jackson Stratton, getting a ton more work now.
So let's just say, Cade had concussion protocol. Do you think that the amount of time that he's been out, is that enough? Or have you ever seen a concussion protocol go longer than what? He's been out 2 weeks since then?
When I was playing, concussion protocol was a week. And if you...
We can tell. Are you okay?
I'm not the one stuttering over concussion. No, so I don't know if it was that bad. Like, it kind of depends on how sensitive you are to light, how, are you knocked out? Like, what all encompasses.
Well, can I ask you
concussion?
that? What do they test you for? What is that?
Well,
is it easy to lie? Like, oh no, I'm not sensitive to light. Do you know what I mean?
If you're really sensitive to light, like, you can't handle anything. Like, any sort of light is going to make you wince and get it. Like, you can't hide that.
Gotcha.
Now, there might be some people that find a way, but there's also some simple motor tests that they can do. You get a baseline when you go in, which you would hope that people don't throw the baseline, right, to make it so low so that way you can't tell. But typically you can kind of tell, like, if somebody's just kind of dazed, like, you're kind of here, you're sensitive to the light, you can't really focus, like, you're going to know.
I'm laughing because it looked like this morning when Dax was doing that face.
Oh.
And we're like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm winking. And we're like, what are you talking about? That's what you looked like. Okay. So they do just
tests. And there's like, so it'd be like, if I'm talking to you, I'd be like, all right, say these words backwards to me. So when I say them actually it'd be numbers. Say these numbers. I'm going to say them. You say them in reverse order to me. So if I went 3, 7, 8, 2, you'd say.
I would fail that now.
2, 8, 7, 3 is what you'd tell me.
They'd say you have a concussion always. Well, that's crazy. It's an interesting test.
There's that. There's some balance tests. There's a bunch of different tests that they go on. Now that was back in 20. I got my concussion.
Did you ever do like
14.
a computer test?
They don't want you looking at screens.
We had to do a computer test when I was cheering at Iowa, which would have been 2013. Yeah.
I don't know.
2013, 2014.
My spring of 15 is when I got it, but no, you're not going to look at it. They don't want you to look at screens.
I don't know. I might be wrong. Somebody can call me out for this, but I'm like 90% sure. I'm really sure.
Unless it was just a cognitive test, but.
Yeah. Okay. So he just needs to pass something like that.
And then there's a return to play protocol. So there's the motor skills, there's the cognitive function, there's can you sit and focus in a meeting for an hour? Because you got to lead up to that. Can you watch film for more than 20 minutes? Sensitivity to light. Like now these are arbitrary numbers, but that's part of the return to practice. And then can you squat your body weight, or can you squat 135 10 times without getting a headache? Because the blood is now going to the area. So like you have to do all these things. Can you ride the stationary bike for 30 minutes without getting a headache? Like there's a lot of different things. And I'm sure they've added to it since I played, but there's a lot of different steps that you have to take before you get back in. So you begin that. And then if there's any, I don't want to say relapse, if there's any hurdle that like, okay, I got a headache. Okay, now we're going to take you back. And then you start over. So it's a matter of passing all these things in the right way consecutively to get back to playing.
Understood. Yeah, I guess I'd never really, you hear like that buzzword of like, oh, it's concussion protocol. Like what exactly does that mean?
And I'm sure there's more now, but there's a very scientific, specific way that you get back to playing.
Understood. So
once you've been evaluated.
Did you ever see anybody go past 2 weeks?
We actually didn't have many concussions while I was there. Like the team in general.
I saw you get one time.
When did you see me get one?
What game was that? Was it Indiana?
It was Indiana, but I didn't get a concussion.
Oh, Matt. It was so obvious.
It was a big hit.
No, if
George scored. You're welcome, George.
And everybody's over here. It's kind of funny now, but and everybody's over here like whatever, celebrating. Oh my gosh, yay. And normally you'd be right in the middle of that because you got so excited. You were just sitting on the goal line like.
It was actually like the 5-yard line, but I was watching everything happen.
No, there's no way. You got your bell rung.
Bell rung?
Yeah.
Not concussed.
Okay. If we can find the video of that, I would love to share.
No, you can. And then you can also show the third down where CJ's rolling left, throws back right, and I make a big time catch, right? Golly, trying to take shots.
I didn't say you couldn't perform under concussion. I just said you definitely got one.
You wouldn't be able to, is my point.
All right.
Now you can argue if people really want to get into the weeds of like the micro concussions and like all that kind of stuff. That's like really into the weeds. But
I feel like we've gone into the weeds a little bit already.
You're probably right.
And then, I did want to say with Jay. So what we had heard was like a tissue issue is what he said, 2 weeks ago, this past week. I thought completely only based on like what I was watching that it looked like a hamstring. So let's just say, and you've pulled your hamstring, you actually tore your hamstring, but let's just say he like pulled it. Is like a week?
It's all dependent because think about it. Seth Anderson also had a hamstring issue. He had a tissue issue and he didn't play until like week 6.
Oh, right.
Now, his position requires a lot of start, stop, sprint, like high speed sprinting. Not saying that Jay doesn't high speed sprint, but he's not cutting the way that Seth Anderson would be expected to.
Okay.
But hamstrings, no matter what, if it's a soft tissue thing, will linger for the entirety of the season.
Fair.
Until you have an extended break. Doesn't matter what it is.
Got it. Okay.
So could be like, okay, he waits it out through bowl prep if he decides to play in the bowl game. If he sits out, gets it healthy, he might be able to go full go in the bowl game based on that'd be 2 months roughly. So I mean, like it all depends, month and a half. Depends on how severe it is and how much he's going to hold out.
Got it. And then Sullivan, we know, is I believe, an ankle. So that one, of course, is up for.
Yeah, I don't know. Tape it up.
What?
I said, I don't know. Tape it up. I don't know.
Oh, tape it. Tape.
It's hard to know. I mean, I sprained my ankle multiple times. It's just a matter of how much pressure can you put on it when you cut. Like that's
but like a high ankle sprain, those are like so painful. That's not one you can just like stomp it out.
That's what I hear. I've never actually had a high ankle sprain.
You never had one before?
No.
I had one that was really terrible.
No, mine are just always swollen and I tape my ankles all the time. So I don't know.
I don't know why you say that. You have really nice ankles. You do.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Well, that's kind of the update, I guess, without giving any update at all whatsoever.
I feel like all the big guys we've had on are kind of gentle giants.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Ethan Hurkett is definitely one of those as well.
Yeah.
But also like kind of scary.
No, he's 100%. Like with the eye black that he plays with on Saturday, I get a little freaked out. just watching it on the screen. Like, oh.
Yeah. And getting to know a little bit more about his family, their background, all of that good stuff.
The amount of military guys we continue to pump into the Iowa program is crazy.
It kind of just makes sense. But yes, we're really excited for everybody to hear this interview with Ethan Hurkett. And what do you say? Should we jump on into that, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing and Construction, the local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners. They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com, for a free estimate. JB Roofing and Construction, the small town roofer you can trust. Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Well, yeah. I mean, they've been servicing vehicles in the corridor for like 40 years.
Right, but did you really know that before someone had to tell you?
No.
Check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first.
The Appliance Barn offers a wide range of high-quality appliances at unbeatable prices.
Whether you're in the market for a new refrigerator, dishwasher, or washing machine, they've got you covered.
They also have a delivery and setup department to ensure your appliances get delivered and installed quickly. To find out more, visit appliancebarn.com.
Hey, Talkin Hawks fans. Well, today we've got another guy from the defensive side of the ball. Please welcome Ethan Hurkett. Hi, Ethan.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
What's your favorite Metallica song?
I knew I'd probably get that. I like One, it's called, or Nothing Else Matters. It's pretty good too.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Can you give us a
Make
little...
sure I'm a legit.
Yeah.
fan.
Can you give us your rendition or anything?
I would, but my voice is kind of sore right now, so I'll save that for later maybe.
You're doing too much singing ahead of
Yeah,
this.
Yep.
He had to get hyped before he came in for the interview. It all makes sense now.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
totally get it. Well, how's it going?
it's going good.
This is the bye week.
Yeah,
And,
just
are you like thankful for a bye week at this point in the season?
it's nice. Yeah, to kind of have that like reset, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a busy season, so it's kind of good to get off our feet a little bit and get rested up.
Is it? Because this is the first year I think that we've ever had 2 bye weeks in a year, because we played that week 0, right?
Mhm.
So was it kind of broken up into like, all right, you got your first season, which is 7 or 8 games, however many it was. Second season, 3 games. And now like the last season of the season. Is that kind of how it got broken up for you guys?
Exactly. Yeah. Like Coach Ferentz would be like, we got this block is one season, you know, and then separate kind of into 3 blocks. So now we just got a 13-day stretch essentially on the back end, which is nice.
This is why I feel like phrasing is so important.
Why?
To like set the expectation, like, all right, we got to get through this block and then we'll get you reset and then the next block. Because you do have to go game by game, but you also have to understand the bigger picture. And I'm sure he talks about it with Nate Kading too. I think his name typically comes up of like the big picture is the big picture.
Yeah.
All the KFisms stay. It doesn't matter. But phrasing like that kind of stuff, I feel like is important.
Yeah, definitely like mentally to kind of break it down.
And
Makes
set
it a
the
lot more
expectation for
digestible.
what he wants from you, right?
Exactly that too. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we just kind of like to start like all the way back where you're from. We know you're from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. What school did you go to?
I went to Xavier,
Xavier.
the Saints.
Nice. So I'm from Cedar Rapids. I went to Prairie.
Okay.
So not
Talpi High.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did they still say that when you were in school or not?
I don't think so. No, but that's
No.
describes it. Describes it well.
Yeah.
No offense to you.
No,
Yeah.
totally. I don't take any offense to that. It's fine.
To be fair, I don't think they won. How many football games did they win while you were cheerleading?
One.
Are you serious?
In my senior year, yeah.
That is brutal.
Yeah, it was so sad.
That's kind of on you though. You got to cheer better or something.
I know. I like to do like the bring it on thing where I say people just came to the games to watch us
Okay.
because we were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So
That's probably the case.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Fill the stands. They're just there for that. Okay, so Xavier, so you would have went to school with Quinn.
Yeah, I
Are
did.
you guys the same year?
He's a year older.
A year older.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And so you were coached by his dad.
Yes.
How's that?
It was awesome. He was a really big mentor for me, just in football and life. Really, the whole Xavier coaching staff was phenomenal. You can ask anybody that went through there; they're pretty great. So yeah,
Gotcha. And did you guys, what was your high school experience like, I guess? Like, did you win any state titles, anything like that while you were there? You would have won one, right? Least?
2 actually.
2? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So my sophomore year, we won one, and then my junior year, but my senior year, we couldn't pull it through, unfortunately.
How far did you get?
We got to, I think, just the first round of playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah. Sensitive subject, but.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
Didn't mean to bring that up.
Did you play on offense at all in high school?
Not much. I played a little bit of like fullback, tight end-ish, but not a whole.
Realized your hands were crap and then moved to the other side.
I guess so, yeah. Maybe that was the reason. But
Okay, so I guess going back even before high school, I kind of jumped around a little bit. When you were a kid, what other sports did you play?
I played baseball growing up. When I was a really little kid, I played soccer, and I did some jujitsu in there as well. So that was fun up until probably like 7th grade-ish.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Where'd you go? Do you know?
For jiu-jitsu?
Mm-hmm.
A place called Tipping Point in Cedar Rapids.
Might have to check in.
Yeah, we want to get our son into jujitsu.
Oh, you got to.
Yeah, he's
It's
only
great.
3, so we took him to a class, and he was like, "I'm not going in there."
Well,
got a little scared.
he could do everything that the older kids were doing, but he just didn't want to do it with them. He wanted to do it over by us. And so like he'd look at the class from afar and like do all the movements, like he's capable. I just couldn't get him to like join the rest of the group. But
Yeah.
so I did taekwondo for 8 years, something like that, 9 years.
Okay.
So we dabbled a little bit with jujitsu, a little bit with hapkido, like just different sorts of martial arts, but I never really went into the jujitsu stuff, but I can only imagine how much that helps you now.
Yeah, it transfers a
Leverage and
lot,
all
I
that
think.
stuff.
And just, I think every kid should really do some form of martial art, I think, like just for the confidence it gives you. And like you said, like it transfers to a lot of other sports in terms of leverage and just physicality too. So
And there's got to be a level of discipline too when you're
oh yeah.
when you're in that environment that you can get when you're out there with sports. But I feel like, when football, you got like 80 kids out there, so you can only discipline so many. But when you're in jiu-jitsu, I feel like I can't imagine classes being that big.
No, probably like 20 at max.
You're getting a lot of individual like coaching discipline. That's where I got a lot of my discipline was my taekwondo instructor.
Yeah, that is huge. I definitely would never take back like those classes and stuff.
Mhm.
So did you compete?
I didn't compete at all, no. Just classes, but yeah, I worked up to an adult blue belt,
Okay.
which is only the second belt, but like
It's more than one.
Yeah, that's true. You got to work through like the kids' belts first if you're not old enough, I guess. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. Did you ever feel like, I've thought about this sometimes, and I don't know, he says no, but did you ever feel like when you're out on the playground, somebody's messing with you? Like, did you ever whip out any of your jiu-jitsu stuff? Like, I always worry, like, I don't know, is he going to try to like use that against people? Or do you get taught like, hey, we only do this in class sort of thing? Or when you need
You kind of get taught like it's not,
You don't
not
lead
like
with
mess
it.
around or whatever. Yeah, like it's only if you had to use it. I really never had to do any of that, but it's nice to know that like if you had to, you could,
Mhm.
as opposed to being like, I have no idea what I'm doing. You'd
Yeah.
rather be able to, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it's the Jordan Peterson thing of like being capable of dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
I know what
same
you're talking
thing.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, like you need to be able to do it, but I'm not going to lead with it.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. So the confidence thing, you mean just confidence in yourself of like, yeah, if anyone tries to mess with me, like I could handle the
Yeah. Just
situation sort
in
of
your
thing?
abilities, I guess. Cause like you said, like it's typically the guys that aren't as confident that are going to be like
Talking.
outwardly trying to like
Mhm.
prove themselves, I guess. Whereas if you know, then you're not going to, I think.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So you stopped when you got to 7th grade. Why was that?
I don't really remember. I think I was just kind of tired of it, honestly.
That's fair.
At that point, like,
After all these good things, he's like,
well, I didn't appreciate it at the time as much because it was more like my parents kind of enforcing it. But now looking back, I'm like, I'm so glad I did that.
Mm-hmm.
So
You have siblings?
I do, a younger sister.
Does she do jujitsu too?
She didn't. No, I know. She's more into the gymnastics side of things a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How much younger is she than you?
She is 3 years younger. So
Okay.
she's actually at Iowa right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
What's she studying?
She's kind of been all over the place. She started in business and now she's doing kind of like more of the science route. Like, I don't even know what the term for it is, but she wanted to be kind of like the pre-med route.
Okay, so
Yeah.
she's smart?
She's smart. Yeah.
Are you smart?
I like to think so. She's probably a little
Okay.
smarter than me, but
That's fair.
Do you
I
have
feel like
Sorry, go ahead.
it's okay. I feel like the Xavier education is really good. Like really
It
prepares
is.
you for college. Do you feel that way?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the teachers there are really, really solid, and you definitely get like, I mean, it's not like one-on-one obviously, but you get kind of smaller class sizes, which I think helps too.
That makes sense. So my niece actually, so she's in high school, just transferred to Xavier, and the expectations academically are just so much higher than where she was at before.
Mm-hmm.
And so she feels like she's going to be like more prepared for whatever comes next. So yeah, I mean, that kind of speaks to that too.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, we hear nothing but good things about Xavier. It seems like coaching staffs and academics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I love my time there for sure.
That's awesome.
Do you have your degree currently?
I don't yet. I actually did a thing where you like push back your graduation to only like I'm in one class right now, one online. So I'm just chilling right now.
That's
It's been
actually
nice.
awesome.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So you'll graduate in December or?
Yes, in
Okay.
December.
Very nice. What's your major?
I'd say with.
Business management.
Nice.
And the hope is after you've played in the league, you're 58, you're retired. What do you want to do with that?
I want to get into like real estate investing kind of.
Hey, I know a
Yeah.
guy.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about it yet, but I think I want to start like residential, and then the Airbnb route is pretty intriguing to me. Like I just see the Instagram reels. It's like, oh, I'm making this much in passive income. I'm like, doesn't seem too bad.
I mean, they inflate a little.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not that easy, or else everybody would do it.
They're on podcasts like, I make $10 million every minute because.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Can't believe everything you see on Instagram.
But especially around here with athletics being as good as they are, and you can roll it over. So you got football, obviously, which you only get 7 opportunities that are here. But then, you know, women's basketball and all those games that people come back for. Airbnb is definitely taking more stuff that I sell. If it's condos, people ask, can I make this an Airbnb?
Really?
Which there's different covenants at different places on whether or not you can have a lease less than 30 days or less than a year. So then you technically couldn't, but there's also ways that you can make things happen.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Pull some strings.
That's really cool. Would you move back, do you think? Would you be here?
Like to Cedar Rapids, you mean? Or
Yeah.
I don't know. I've kind of thought about that. I like Cedar Rapids. I like kind of like the Swisher area too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty out there. So really anywhere like between here and there, I'd be cool with.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're engaged, right?
I am. Yes.
Cool.
Hey, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah.
When did that happen?
That happened this past July.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
so that wasn't too long ago.
Yeah,
And
we're
what's her
getting Megan.
Megan.
Yeah.
Does she live here?
She lives back home in Cedar Rapids right now.
Back home, 20 minutes.
I know. I always say that like I'm going back home, the long journey, but yeah, she's teaching down there right now.
Okay. What does she teach?
She teaches 5th grade math and science.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a date for the wedding yet?
We do. It's July 5th.
Oh, geez. So just a year to turn it around and get that all planned.
You letting her plan everything?
I planned a lot of it. No, I'm just kidding. She did the whole
That was
thing.
gonna
I just
shock me.
Yeah,
I
was
just
like,
agreed with everything, but she's done a great job planning it all for sure.
That's exciting.
It is, yeah.
In Cedar Rapids. Is she from here?
She is.
Okay.
High school sweethearts?
No, actually, I met her here. So,
Okay. And you're both from Cedar Rapids?
yep,
Nice.
yeah,
Well, that's kind of convenient.
yeah. It works out, no doubt. Yeah.
Where'd she go to school then?
She went to Lemar.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
So not too far.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So then I guess get married in July. Right?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
yep, July.
And then where does that put you for like what's going on in July as far as like training camps and that kind of stuff?
OTAs probably would have been done in June. So you're probably just getting ready for this. You might have some late OTAs. Otherwise, there's like a couple week break before you come back. But
So what if she plans all this stuff and then you have to like report somewhere?
Move the wedding, I guess.
that's a very simple question,
I don't know if you
man.
can do that.
I would say move it. Like that's
Just
it.
saying.
That'd be tough though after you plan the whole thing. I don't know.
It would be kind of hard.
I'm hoping we scheduled it like for one of the breaks, but
I know
I
there's
don't
like
even know when.
well, there's like
I think
different
we did.
weeks.
That's the best.
yeah,
You got enough guys in the league. I'm sure they're helping you out.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
So-
actually have like Aaron Graves' wedding and then my wedding and then Logan Jones getting married all like 3 weeks in a row.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be kind of a crazy month.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've talked to multiple guys that are either engaged or married, and It's just so crazy because when he was playing, like
I started the trend.
he was the only one that was like engaged or married on the team.
Really?
Yeah. And then a couple guys like followed a little closely behind, but it was just like wasn't really a thing to be engaged in. It seems like you guys have a lot of guys on the team
We
right
do.
now that are, but
What year were you?
So we got engaged after the Iowa State game in 2016.
Okay.
It was on the field. I had my best game. It just worked out right. Chris Root, the video guy, saw him on my way out and I was like, hey, can you record this? And I did it on the field so that way she couldn't say no to me at that moment. Like she'll say no to me later, but right now she's going to say yes.
Yeah.
I did say no later. No, I'm just kidding.
And then I was the only one engaged for that year. And then LaShawn got engaged and Josie got engaged before they were done.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Were you guys in your 4th year or 5th?
That would have been my true senior year.
Yeah. And then he
Okay.
had a 5th year after that.
Because then I broke my foot later and then came back in 17. So I was married in 17 when I was on the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
married
weird to
on
think
the team.
about.
It's like Logan Lee.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Similar type of deal.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you would have had, what was your freshman year?
2020, the COVID year.
COVID.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
So
What
it
was
was-
that
sorry, go ahead.
experience like?
It was weird. Yeah, we came in. They basically evacuated Peterson to where it was only like the football team in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we had the masks on. We had like the shield type of mask on our helmet.
Oh,
And we couldn't really
I
we could
forgot
practice a
about
little
those.
bit and then they would cancel it and then come back a little bit, cancel it again.
Mm-hmm.
It was not fun.
Were you in the dorms the whole time?
Yeah.
So you really couldn't like go anywhere, I'm assuming. You're just
No.
kinda, like just hanging out there.
Yeah, and getting that like the needle thing up your nose every Wednesday
Yeah.
at like 5 a.m. It
No
was
way.
brutal.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Who was your roommate?
Wyatt Black.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's a small dorm room to have both of us in there. No doubt.
that's a couple of big guys, yeah, in a small space.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were talking to somebody else that came in 2020, and I was like, it just seems like it would be a little bit stinky in those dorms. Like you guys are just like hanging out in there all day.
No comment on that. Hopefully our room wasn't too bad, but yeah.
Yeah, that really is a weird experience. And then you had to do the whole like what did they call it? Quarantining for like the 14 days. I don't know if you guys ever had to do that or whatever that looked like for you. But oh my goodness, that's a really tough thing to come in your freshman year. And
Yeah, I
have to-
know some guys. I never got to the hotel, fortunately, but they would like put them away in the hotel for the 10 days or whatever, and they'd be ordering like the steak and lobster
sure.
from the downstairs and stuff. They got in a little
What?
trouble for that, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, you'd have to literally be like taken away and put somewhere else.
Yeah.
To like quarantine or whatever if you oh my
Oh, yeah.
gosh. Wow.
Well, I want to back up a little bit since you're hometown. I mean, you have to go back home, but since you're close, like what was the recruiting process like prior to COVID, I guess? Like when did you start realizing that like Iowa might be the destination versus when other teams may have jumped on there?
Yeah, I mean, this is like my dream to come here. So I knew like if they offer, I was going to commit.
Mhm.
But they probably started talking to me like late sophomore year, early junior year, I would think. And then, yeah, they offered me on one of the like senior day type visits.
Oh, sure.
My parents were there and me, and they offered me. And then I went downstairs and committed like 20 minutes later, probably to Coach Bell. So that's how it went down.
Did anybody else even have a shot? Like, was anybody talking to you outside of Iowa?
Yeah, I mean, I had like kind of the usual like Midwest area schools. Like,
That offered you?
no, nobody else offered me yet. So I'm just saying like they were talking to me. But
Sure. Like
I
Iowa
was
State,
the first
Nebraska.
offer and the last offer. Yeah.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. So did you grow up watching the Hawkeyes, like going to games, that kind of stuff?
I did. I went to a few games, not a lot though, honestly. But
It's a long drive. We get it.
yeah, it's a travel. But no, I just remembered like the games being sick. So I was like, if I ever get the opportunity, I gotta play here.
Yeah. So you said growing up, you played baseball, did jujitsu, a little bit of soccer.
Mhm.
But as you got into like, let's say like middle school, was it like just football or were you playing anything else?
Football, baseball, and then I started track like around that time too.
Okay.
Yeah,
What'd you do in track?
just throwing mainly.
I
I
figured.
You
ran
do
a
a big
couple
man
sprints,
relay?
but-
Nothing?
We called it the 4x fat. Yeah.
There it is.
So
The best name in all
Yeah.
sports.
That thing's fun. Yeah,
That's hysterical.
I know.
So you ran a 400?
Well, just it's like a relay. So I did 100 of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your time?
I don't even want to know. I don't know.
What was your split?
Yeah.
That's funny. So you threw for that. And then what was your position in baseball?
I played a lot of outfield and some third base.
So you got a cannon.
I wouldn't say that. I was more of a hitter than a fielder anyway. I didn't like playing the field really.
I mean, third base, you got to have some zip if
I
you're going to
guess
throw
so,
them out.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're going to throw it to home from left field, but
Yeah.
you got to have a little zip.
I can throw decently, I guess.
Did you play in high school?
I didn't, no.
No. Just through middle school and then stopped at high school?
Yeah.
So once you got to high school, was it just track and football?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever
And
consider-
intramural basketball too, a little bit.
Oh, you had intramurals?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you good at basketball?
No, I'm terrible. I had an in-game dunk though in intramurals. It was pretty sick.
Is there a highlight of this?
No. You just got to take my word for it.
Yeah. do you do like pickup games anymore?
Not
Pickup
really.
basketball games? Nothing
No.
like that. Yeah.
I get scared I'm going to blow something out and then I have to tell the coaches, you know?
Can you imagine?
Yeah. I want to.
That's why Laura didn't let me ever go to the rec and play basketball.
Or
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Looks so fun though, but one day.
One
Well,
of these, yeah.
Everybody else we've had on says that we need to do like an all-star Talkin Hawks basketball game.
You guys
Because
should.
everybody on here, except for you for some reason, says they're really good at basketball. Everybody else.
Yeah. And not a lot of them are. There's a lot of guys that say they are, but
I'm pretty sure everyone we've had on the podcast has been like, yeah, I'd be on the starting five. Like,
Except for Brian Allen. He said he'd be the sixth man.
Yeah, that's true.
okay.
Mhm.
But otherwise, everybody else, Nick, Jackson, Jay Higgins, Cooper last year,
Mhm. Even Mason
Mason.
plays.
Yeah. Mason said he's like, I'll get you an 8 to 10 points. And then Nick Jackson, there's no way he's getting 8 points. He was going in on Mason.
I mean, these guys all like played in high school though, at least. I didn't play in high school, so I
you
can't.
just said you played in high school.
No,
Intramural though.
intramural.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
There's a difference.
Tell me about it, because I don't know anything about intramurals.
I mean, intramurals, you got just guys that are screwing around, just having fun, you know?
But is it legit games?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, we had like our high school defensive coordinator ref in the games though, so I don't know how serious it really is, but
So it was a bunch of football guys playing basketball, essentially.
somewhat. And guys that just don't really play sports, just playing basketball, so.
hmm Did you do the whole like travel baseball thing when you were younger or not really?
Our team traveled a little bit, but just kind of like in Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't super good
Is it AAU? Is that what it's called?
That's
Baseball?
basketball.
for basketball, yeah.
We'll get there,
Oh,
Laura.
that's basketball.
She's-
What's the
that's fair.
baseball thing?
I don't even know what they call it.
There's a lot of they just call it travel baseball. And there's a lot of different leagues.
Okay. So you didn't really do the whole like travel nationally,
No,
get into all that
not
kind
at
of
all.
stuff.
Like Des Moines is probably the farthest we did.
So was football always the first love then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Did your parents play sports?
My dad was big into soccer. They're actually from so he grew up in like Florida area. And my mom's from up here, but she moved around a ton. So my dad played down there. My mom played volleyball in high school a little bit.
Okay. So is she tall?
She's like 5'8".
Okay. Yeah.
So pretty
That's
tall.
above average, isn't it?
Yeah.
Taller for a girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
How tall is your dad?
Probably like 5'10", 5'11".
This is what I don't understand. Like we keep hearing this, like they don't have like people don't have like guys don't have super tall parents.
Mm-hmm.
Then like you're 6'3". How does that happen? You know? Do you have tall uncles, grandparents, something like that?
Both my grandparents are pretty tall, probably like 6'2", 6'3".
Hmm.
And then I saw this thing on, I don't know where I saw it, but it was like 25% of height is diet. So which growing up I ate a ton, so I don't know.
No way.
Maybe that's part
Hold
of it.
on.
Actually, Mason said that too. He said something
Did
to
he?
the effect of that because he was like, yeah, I think it's just because when I was growing up, we always had to clear our plates and like make sure that we ate everything that was on our plate. He's like, so maybe that helped.
Honestly.
Is that why I
Do it.
stopped at 6 foot?
Yeah.
You need to start rethinking this.
Just didn't eat enough. Wow. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that before.
Anything in particular you ate a lot of
Milk.
that we need? Milk.
I would drink so much milk, like half a gallon a day probably growing up.
Gross. Seriously?
I used to
Hold
love
on.
milk.
What kind of milk? 2%
Just
skim.
like 2%.
That's not terrible.
That's
Yeah.
at least it's not skim.
yeah.
No, it's just water at that
Yeah.
point.
It is just a little bit of white water. Huh. Milk was your thing, like cereal. Did you do that kind of stuff? Or it was just like
Yeah,
drinking a
just
glass
like
of
drinking milk, honestly. Yeah.
I had this girl I used to cheer with that never drank water, like refused. She would never drink it. If she was drinking anything, it would be juice or milk in college. And
It's probably not good for you. I'd still drink water, but
None. She won't do it. She won't drink any water. If it's like a sip. But like in her water bottles and stuff, she would put milk in there.
probably gets headaches, doesn't she? My fiance will always be, I got a headache. I haven't drank any water at all today.
Just been sipping my coffee all day.
Yeah.
That happens to me too. It must be like a girl thing.
It's got to be.
That's funny. Okay. So then younger sister and where was I going to go with that?
I don't know, but I'll take over.
You can,
Parents, yep.
you can take
Because
that out, Matt.
yeah, well, I already got questions.
Yeah, you go.
So parents wanted you to go into jujitsu, you said?
Yep.
So how did that conversation start? Like, hey, you're gonna do this, or it's like, hey, I saw this, or like, yes, how did your parents like know to put you in something like that?
I don't know. I started so young. I started back so I was born in Texas, and I started.
Hold on. Okay. Like your parents lived in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay.
For what?
So basically, like a lot of my family's in Texas. We moved up here for my dad's job in like first grade.
Mm-hmm. What does he do?
He was in the FBI, and now he's.
Can you say that?
Yeah, I mean he's retired now.
So you can say that.
I could say that always. He'd never say like what he actually does, basically.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Were there hints before he retired that like you knew, or did
Like
you
what he
just
was doing,
always,
you mean?
or did you always know? Because I feel like there's a little bit of like.
Well, he said you can say you're in the FBI. You just can't say what you do for them.
Yeah, he would never like say what he was doing at work, but I knew he was an FBI agent the whole time.
Did you travel a lot, or he was just in the?
A decent amount when I was younger. Like he went to Jordan overseas for like 3-4 months at a time, I think.
At a time.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a lot for your mom to handle. Like
I know.
gone in a different country,
And you
Who
got to
you
buy
got to?
milk all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's just
It's not
so. What does
easy.
she do? Does she work?
Yeah, she's a teacher as well, actually. Her and my fiance actually like taught together at the same school last year, and then my
That's
fiance
wild.
moved to a different school this year. But
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can you? So now that your dad's retired, has he told you what he used to do? You can't tell us, but has he told you what he used to do, or is it
no,
lips are sealed forever for life?
I guess I haven't really asked him either because I'm like, I probably should really.
How have you
I don't think
not
you would.
asked?
You
That's
wouldn't
probably
ask
like-
either. That's
Probably
such
like
a
an oath or
man
something. I don't know.
I still think your dad's secretly part of the CIA. At some point, he's going to share.
thing. Yeah, we've always said that. We think my dad's a part of the like something like that.
It's like Meet the Fockers. You guys seen that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
Wow, that is really, really interesting. And then you know what's funny is like we hear that like he did what, but to you you're like, yeah, he was just in the FBI.
I know everybody's reaction is always like, "Holy cow!" But
So
You just don't think he's that cool.
No, but you got away with nothing when you were younger, probably.
Yeah,
At least you might have gotten away with it, but he totally knew.
he probably did know. Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of interesting, though. So now you're the third D lineman we've had on. Brian talked about his parents having a military background.
Mm.
Deontay Craig went to a military high school.
Mm.
And then your parents, one of them was FBI.
It's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
The whole D line, pretty
That's
much.
crazy.
Yeah,
The way that Iowa is recruiting, they know what they're doing.
yeah, exactly.
Start with the armed forces or work back.
Well, yeah, like you probably had some. I mean, I guess just coming from those two guys, like their upbringing was like a little more strict,
Mhm.
like higher expectations on them as kids. Just in terms of like even Deontay going to a military high school. Have you ever talked to him about that?
A little bit. I used to have the buzz cut and do like make your bed and all that stuff.
Yes, so interesting. Just like even to go like stay somewhere, you're 14 years old, you don't have your parents around you, like you're doing your own laundry, you're doing like just completely taking care of yourself.
And he said he
At
couldn't really
14.
take calls.
Yeah. Isn't that
Like-
crazy?
That
You feel
is
like you could do that at 14?
probably not. Honestly, that's like going to college before
Mm.
college, pretty much.
Seriously.
Yeah,
I just think of myself at 14 years old and I'm like, there's no way.
He did say that they could see him like every weekend.
I'm just saying the point of like taking care of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like
No.
the laundry, I don't know if you had to cook, but you know, just all that kind of stuff. And you're just alone.
that is a lot. Yeah,
That's a lot. Yeah, I don't know. But we left and I was like, Matt, are we are we sending our kids to military? Because he was just like, I mean, you know him. He's just like an amazing guy.
Yeah.
It's like when you talk to him, like super easy to talk to.
Super chill.
Very nice,
He
super
is.
respectful. And it's like, well, that's what you want out of your kid, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
he's so positive.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, am I
Yeah,
considering?
put him in jiu-jitsu, send him to military school, put him in the FBI, all that.
He's going to hate us.
Yeah.
He's also going to turn out to be a dog. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's-
true.
Next Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Are you a big movie fan? You mentioned 2 movies in the last like 2 minutes.
I like movies.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest, but like I like action
Action
mostly.
movies.
Yeah.
I
Understood.
kind of garnered that through the FBI, Metallica.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a vibe.
I guess, yeah.
maybe. Do you have like a favorite movie?
I like John Wick.
I've never seen that movie.
You
Actually,
seen it?
neither have I.
Really?
Is it like
You guys got to
multiple?
watch it. You probably would not like it as much because my fiance just like fell asleep during it. But
I think that's also a girl thing.
yeah,
That's fair.
That's the one where they're like, don't mess with this dog or something, right?
yeah.
Like where all the memes came from.
hmm
I don't know.
I don't want to
Well, it's-
spoil it, but it's crazy
It's
stuff.
Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
You had to have at least seen
You guys seen The
something.
Matrix?
No.
Long time ago, but it's been a long time.
It's fire too.
People say like The Matrix is like foreshadowing of what's actually going on.
Oh, this is not a conspiracy
Like
theory
AI and
podcast.
stuff.
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen the movie. I'm just saying that people say that.
It's kind of like humans create like AI or robots or whatever, and they eventually get so smart they like take over and then use the humans as like their energy source and like plug them in as like batteries.
Feels like a little bit of foreshadowing.
I feel like iRobot is more foreshadowing than The Matrix.
I haven't seen that one.
Really?
That one's a classic with Will Smith.
Okay.
It gets sad though.
It does get very sad, but I don't know. Do I spoil? I don't spoil it, but
No, we won't spoil it.
you
should
watch
watch it,
that
though.
one because that came out. Oh, Matthew,
A long time
when
ago.
did iRobot come out? You have a computer.
It's like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Do you listen to podcasts? Are you a big podcast fan?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you listen to?
I like Joe Rogan.
Talkin Hawks. 2004.
2004.
Thank you, Matthew.
Nice. It's a really good movie though. You have to. iRobot's good.
I'll check it out.
Mm.
Okay, podcast that you like, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I listen to this guy called Higher Up Wellness. It's just like a fitness page type of thing.
Would we recognize him? I feel like there's a couple
Maybe.
big time.
His name's Michael Smoke, I think. He's got glasses and just talks about like,
Wow, what a cool last name.
I know.
You got to do something with that.
Hopefully he sees this and like puts on his story or something. Be sick. No, but them. Then I like this guy, Tim Riley Training. He's like trains NFL guys and stuff down in I think Austin, Texas.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like the training side and like the physical side of football, especially. So
Really?
I'm interested in that. Yeah,
Okay.
Would you ever want to train athletes?
I would, but I just didn't take that path in like school and stuff. So I don't know if I'd had the credentials. Really,
You have to have credentials.
I don't know.
I feel like it's a big credential to even go through the Iowa football program just because you learn so much in the weight room.
That's true.
Don't you feel like you've learned a lot in terms of like, I don't know, at least coming from him, like he didn't study any of that stuff either, but he knows a lot about like, I don't even know, like what your max is this plus this, da da da. It's not just like what you can lift. You do know what I'm saying?
No, I do.
You know what I'm getting at here?
Essentially, like I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go into a French contrast phase because I want to work on this, or I'm going to go into a Russian phase mainly because this is my outcome.
Mhm.
Like I don't study physiology. I don't know how anything works, but we were at the time when Nick DeMarco came in, and Coach Doyle was still the head guy, but I think DeMarco had a big influence on how we changed it.
Mhm.
And right now he's the director of sports performance out of Elon,
Okay.
which we've had some guys go out there, like Jake Gervais went out there and trained, Ben Neiman went out there and trained. And I got my stuff from him when I was training for Pro Day. He doesn't back squat.
Really?
Everything is unilateral unless it's trap bar. But he's
Okay.
really big into split squats, really big into like assisted split squats. And then all of his speed work is based on reactionary things. So it's all based on a stimulus and then you create it based off that. I mean, he'll do some like, chain sprints or sled sprints, but a lot of it is based on reactionary since everything we do is reactionary.
That makes sense.
But he like kind of changed the way that we did things in the weight room. And now Ray's been there for a long time. I mean, he continues to evolve it, but there was a time where we did like the offense would just do a lift And then now it's broken up to what? Devo 2, Devo team, advanced.
Yeah.
Like in position specific, like I don't need to be benching what you're benching.
I've always thought that, yeah.
You know?
Why would lineman and like a skill guy be doing the same thing? But
Right.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's like more specificity, but also, I mean, you still need to be able to do basic things like the GPP stuff. Like you're still going to push prowlers and do, you know, do what? Sandbag and the kettlebells. Like you probably still do that circuit, right?
Oh, yeah.
The battle ropes and the tires.
Yeah.
Like
it's always a day like after long breaks and you got half the team throwing up. Yeah.
Or you're doing the stations and 60s. Do you guys still do that like right before summer?
That's the worst.
That would
On
have
a hot day with the vest on.
Yeah, I forgot the vest.
Yeah.
Do you get like joy out of that kind of work though?
I do, yeah. You just feel like accomplished afterwards for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can tell in the way that you play, because you are Matt's unsung hero.
Ayo.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell in the way that you play, like, what game was it after?
It was Michigan State.
It was, yes. And we were watching it on TV, obviously. And it was like, we made a joke out of it because it was like after every single play, you were somewhere in the screen. And we were just like, it just became like fun because after a while, we're like, geez, he's everywhere. And then every single player, like, there he is again. There he is again. Like, you can just tell that there's like a definite like effort in the way that you play, that like you enjoy going that extra mile, if that makes sense.
I do enjoy it, yeah. Yeah.
And you got to run a long way.
What?
You got to run a long way. Like he's down here and then he's going to chase a hitch route that was thrown on the far side.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's at a D-lineman position. But it was almost like a Where's Waldo book. Like when you flip it, you know Waldo's going to be there.
Yeah.
You just got to find him. And all of a sudden he's like, there he is. And then there he is.
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was really cool. Super fun to watch. And like I said, you can just tell that you enjoy just like the hard things, you know, like there's not a lot of guys. I mean, there are at the collegiate level, but there's not a ton that you find that really like to like finish the play and like just be in there, you know, to do whatever is necessary or whatever can help.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can just tell that you enjoy that facet of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm curious if that kind of backs all the way up. Like obviously the Iowa program is one thing, but you think about like now that my mind's working backwards of like, okay, Xavier, FPI, jiu-jitsu, like if it's all kind of been like, well, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's kind of your mentality right now. Like we're telling you finish and you're like, yeah, that's what I do. Okay, great. You know, like I almost feel like that's the standard, which is why it's so cool to watch you play. Because if the standard's here, then you meet it and you hope that and the other 10 guys that watch you, which obviously we know like Jay's a good leader, right? Nick Jackson's been there a little bit now, Quinn Schulte on the back end, but to lead by example and to bring those guys with you, especially when you got a young room like Brian Allen, but you got guys up there like Max Llewellyn, Aaron Graves been around, but to lead by example, I feel like is a really big thing when you don't strike me as a vocal person just sitting here, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not the biggest vocal guy, yeah.
But I think there's something to lead by example and be like, I'm going to finish every play. So when you turn on the tape, I don't get yelled at.
Yeah.
And I feel good about what I put on tape because that's always there.
Yeah. I just hate to watch myself like
loaf.
Yeah. That's the worst. If you see it like for you, they put your number on the screen. If you're not giving effort, they'll be like 49 loaf. And I just never want to see that. I don't know.
Oh, wait, really?
Oh, yeah.
Like in meetings?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to mark all of it.
Oof.
They say this eye in the sky never lies.
Mm-hmm.
And they also say that they don't say it, but you get yelled at on the field for it. And then you go back and watch the tape and then you get yelled at again for it.
Yeah, double yell at.
But they also track everything. Like I know they track how often, like if a ball's on the ground, who scoops it. Like they track all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of
It
pressure.
is. It's crazy stuff.
Well, it's not pressure if it's a standard, right?
Yeah,
like
but how
he's
often
there.
have you
Exactly.
seen 49 on there with like loaf? Ever?
I probably had before, yeah. I mean, everybody's had it.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's at
but-
least some.
Yeah.
Like when you have it, then you're like, I don't want to have that.
No.
You know? And maybe I will one day, but hopefully not.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Do you have an NFL team that you like?
I grew up liking the Cowboys just because
Okay.
I was born in Texas, but
Tough.
I don't really follow it that much, honestly. Like, I
Yeah.
don't follow them, but
We were talking before that, like, when you're from Iowa, like, grow up here, like, you don't get exposed to much else other than the Hawkeyes. Like, now I feel like the Chiefs have kind of, like, become popular with, like, younger kids for whatever reason.
And Patrick
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly. You could combine.
I don't want to give her credit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a lot of kids like Justin Jefferson. Like that's been a really big one. So I feel like those kind of like more Midwestern teams kind of infiltrate, but it's just the Hawks like through and through.
If I'm a watching team though, it's probably the Lions now that
We got a lot
half our rosters on there, but
That's true.
yeah,
They're
fun to
doing
watch.
like pretty well, aren't they this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 9-1.
Yeah, I think so.
They won on a last second field goal.
Sheesh. That's great. Oh, this is what I was going to say before. And then I was like, wait, I'll save it. Does anyone ever tell you that you remind them a little bit of Nick Bosa?
Actually, yes.
Yes?
Our spring staff says that quite a bit.
Yeah. It's like like the face, but then also the voice a little bit. And he's like, at least in the media, he's a little more like quiet, doesn't really have a whole lot to say, kind of like a little more reserved.
I could see it.
I know.
I'll take it. That's not a bad comparison to
Can we
have.
get a
It's
side
really
by
not.
side here
Yeah.
when this reel goes out?
No, it's not. It's not a bad comparison.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, really cool.
One thing we like to invite all of our guests to kind of talk about, and you're from Xavier, which is known as the private school, Catholic school,
Yeah.
private school.
Yep.
Do you want to talk at all about kind of how your faith plays into what it is you do here at Iowa, or if it's gone up, down, kind of how that looks in your life?
Yeah. We were kind of talking before about like your transition away from the game and stuff, and how you kind of relied on like putting your identity in Jesus to get you through that, which
Absolutely.
I really liked. I'd say coming to college, I kind of had a decent faith just from high school and stuff, but I think playing football here like has really caused me to kind of lean on it and like have to rely on it, like in the game, as you know, there's the highest highs and some of the lowest lows. And so I just try to thank God for the highs, and then when the lows come, also thank him for those. And especially like I tore my ACL in I think year 2 here. Yeah, year 2. And it's pretty like isolating to go through an injury. Like you said, you broke your foot, right?
Yeah, I broke it twice.
Yeah. And that's when you really have to lean on your faith and lean on like the support network around you as well. So God definitely helped me to get through that time and to appreciate what I have now. So I'm just like every day I go out there, I'm like, I'm healthy and I get to be around the guys that I love. So yeah.
And it shows up when you're in the frame at the end of every play, right?
I guess so.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Like thankful to go out there and do that stuff. So I broke my foot September of 16, and then I came back and broke it again February of 17. So I was out for a long time, and then March of 18, right before pro day, I broke it a third time.
Oh my gosh.
And just went through pro day anyway. But it can be very isolating when you're not out there doing the thing that you feel like you should be doing.
Yeah.
But in those times is when we're able to learn a lot. And God is like saying, just so you know, your value doesn't just apply to the football field. Like your value is much more than this. It's a really cool facet. You're going to learn a lot of things, but like, don't put all of your stock into what you're doing, put it into me, and then utilize what it is that you're doing to get to where I want you to be.
Yeah. And he's teaching you patience. He's teaching you things that'll apply to life far beyond when you're a father, when you're just a man in life, like it's not just football. It's bigger than that.
And one of the things I learned too is that just because you go through something doesn't mean it's for you.
Yeah.
Like you might have that story to help somebody else that's going through something.
That's true too. Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm preaching, but
Yeah.
Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah.
No. So I wanted to ask that because I know that can be a big part. And it feels like Athletes in Action is really like turned into a bigger thing on campus. And it's really cool to kind of see how many guys we've had on the podcast talk about their faith.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. We got a good group of guys for sure.
Really cool. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
No, you can finally wrap up. It
Okay. All right. Well, Ethan, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
was a good time.
Yeah. Thank
Enjoy
you
the
guys.
rest of your bye week, and then best luck the rest of the 13-day stretch after that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. It'll be exciting. We're excited to watch you guys. And again, just wish you the best of luck the rest of the season and into the spring.
Yeah. Thank you.
Locally owned and operated, Performance is a full-service restoration company serving Eastern Iowa.
As an IICRC certified firm, their multi-licensed technicians have decades of experience in water,
mold, and fire mitigation. Whether it's your home or business, this is the team you want in a time of need. Performance Restoration, 319-626-2292.
Hey, Hawk fans, looking for the perfect spot to fuel up before or celebrate after a Hawkeye win? Look no further than Marquee Pizzeria, located in the vibrant Iowa River Landing.
Their wood-fired pizzas have truly changed the pizza game.
Whether you're cheering on the Hawkeyes or just searching for a delicious meal, Marquee Pizzeria is the place to be. Swing by and experience the best pizza in Iowa. Go Hawks.
When it comes to keeping our home comfortable, we trust only the best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating. Whether it's fixing a leaky sink, keeping the house cool, or making sure the furnace runs smoothly in winter, Loudon Plumbing and Heating is our go-to. For reliable service, trust the corridors best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating.
Looking to make a splash online in Eastern Iowa? Digital Boost is your local go-to digital marketing agency. They help local businesses connect with their ideal customers online.
Digital Boost has a diverse client base, ranging from small businesses to industry leaders, including well-known brands like DNR Pest Control and Advanced Millwork.
Visit their website at www.digitalboostia.com to learn more or contact them for a free in-person consultation. Well, Matt, as I said, the Hawkeyes are traveling out to Maryland this weekend, so I don't envision a ton of Iowans traveling out there. Although Hawkeyes travel really well, it is quite the trek for the average fan. So if you don't find yourself in Maryland Stadium this weekend, then you should definitely head out to one of the Big Grove locations. They've got one in Solon, which is a great one. They've got one in Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, and Iowa City, of course. And if you didn't know, Big Grove is the official watch headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes all football season long and all basketball season long. So make sure you're heading out to Big Grove to catch one of the games when you aren't able to make it in person. Maybe we'll head out to there.
To Maryland?
No, to Big
I
Grove.
was going to say, whew,
I'm not going to Maryland. Come on.
that'd be really fun with a 1 and 3-year-old.
It does sound nice now that I think about it. It sounds great.
The only thing would be better, night game.
Oh, yeah. Sign me up. I'm ready.
We'll just leave Saturday morning, have them in the plane the whole day, and then go to the game. And then fly back
What's
same
so
night.
crazy about that is like there's some parents that would do that and they'd be like, yeah, it was great. It was such a good time. And we'd be like, this is my personal nightmare. Which I don't know if that says more about them or about us. I don't know. Anyway, do you want to know some things about Maryland, Matt?
Absolutely.
Well, you should have gone there because they have their own golf course on campus.
I think Chris would like to know this.
Chris, you were sitting next to our producer at the No Foot Too Small event on Saturday night. I was emceeing, and you were telling your wife all about how you love the Talkin Hawks podcast.
Ayo.
And then you were talking to our producer. So thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And I understand that you really like when I talk about the mascots. So I'll get to that here in a second. But we just have some fun, fast facts about Maryland. Okay.
That's fast.
So it has its own golf course. And it's on 140 acres. Is that a lot for a golf course?
I couldn't tell you.
Anyway.
Sounds like a lot.
Cool, but it's on campus, which is pretty cool. They also have the McKeldin Mall. It's considered one of the longest collegiate... Longest? I don't know if that was correct. Anyway, it says on here that it's one of the longest collegiate malls in the country.
What's on here?
It was on the
Official website?
The Maryland alumni website. What an interesting way to put that. Anyway, it could be true. Actually, you know what? I think that is true. And it's like the longest by like an inch or something like that. Somebody else said that, but I found that on Reddit. So, you know.
Oh.
Anyway, it was also, that mall was used as the filming location for National Treasure Book of Secrets. How about that? There's also a spot on campus that's called the Point of Failure. And it's like this superstitious thing that if you step in that area, that you will not graduate in 4 years. The point of failure.
Is it on campus?
Yeah.
I feel like we need to dive more into that.
Also, you can see the Washington Monument from the top of Maryland Stadium.
That's pretty cool.
So if you're looking for some cheap seats, go ahead and do that. And then you can also see, you can sit all the way at the top. And then you can also get a good view of the Washington Monument. So you're watching the game, kind of, and also taking in the sights, doing a little tourism all at the same time. There are also a lot of famous people and well-known people that graduated from Maryland. I didn't even get through the full list, and I have so many. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Okay. Sergey Brin, who's the Google co-founder. Okay. Larry David. He was like the co-writer for Seinfeld.
Hmm.
And then also like comedian,
Yeah.
yada, yada, all that good stuff. Jim Henson, he's a puppeteer, and he was the creator of Muppets. That's so interesting. Michael Ealy, who is, Michael David Brown is his actual name, but professionally he's known as Michael Ealy. And he's an actor that was in Barbershop, Too Fast and Too Furious, Takers, Think Like a Man, Think Like a Man 2, About Last Night, The Perfect Guy, and The Intruder. That's a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Gayle King, do you know who that is?
No.
Did your mom ever used to watch Oprah? Like when she did the like Daily Show?
I think so.
So Gayle was like her best friend, well, still is.
And
they like did all that stuff together.
No.
No?
No.
Anyway, she was also a journalist and broadcaster on CBS. But I knew her because my mom always watched Oprah every single day. And Gayle was like her BFF. And it was always like really fun when she would come on the show because they'd go do like something silly together. Anyway, she graduated from there. Juliana Rancic. Do you know who that is? She's on E! Network.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like super skinny, really pretty. And she does like all the red carpet stuff and some other shows on E! Network.
Yes, things that
Pop culture.
I would not watch.
Travis Pastrana, is that how you say it?
Yep.
You knew who this was, but X Games, he did motocross. Tim Sweeney, the founder of Epic Games.
Fortnite, thank you.
Yeah, see? Thanks a lot, Tim. Jeffrey Patrick Kinney. He wrote Diary of a Wimpy Kid, that whole series.
Yeah.
Yep. Kevin Plank. He's the founder and billionaire, founder of Under Armour.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Yep.
And I had one more, and I wrote his name, and then I didn't write what he's famous for. So Scott Van Pelt. Do you know that name? I wrote it for some reason.
SVP.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now that I say it out loud, I know exactly who it is. There's so many times on this podcast. I think there are times when people think I'm a little bit smart. And most of the time I think that they think I'm really dumb. Like in the Ethan Hurkett podcast, when I said, oh, did you play AAU baseball? And you both were like, well, that's basketball. I'm just going to let it go.
You're doing great.
I don't care. I am who I am, Matt.
I am what I am.
So then there wasn't a whole lot of information on the history of the actual mascot, like the thing in the suit, like the suit guy. But its name is
Paper mache.
No, and not fiberglass either. Testudo, I think is his name. I don't really know what it means. Testudo. Yeah, that's his name. Hold on one second. Give me a moment here. Okay, so the theory behind what testudo comes from is a Latin word for protective shelter, which was used to protect Roman soldiers' heads, much like that of a shell. So apparently that's where he got his name. I don't know if I'm buying that. So
I'm not saying that word out loud. Keep going.
Do you think that's how there's no other way it's pronounced, right? Testudo?
Testudo.
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, we're over.
So the guy that came up with
the terrapin.
the terrapin being the mascot and being like the official logo, whatever, of the university. So we've talked about how a lot of these guys' names from like back in the 50s are not real. People are making these stories up and then making characters to go along with it. His name was Curly Bird.
No.
It's not real.
No.
Curly and then BYRD. What's the guy?
That's more believable.
What's the guy's name in what's that show on Netflix? The Ozarks? His last name is Bird. Marty, I think. Marty Bird. Do you watch that, John? Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was Marty Bird. Anyway, before they were the Terrapins, though, they were the Old Liners. And I don't really know. I don't know why. I don't know what that means. But at the time, Curly Bird was the football coach, head baseball coach, athletic director, and president of the university. So this man had a lot going on. And in his free time, he proposed the idea to have the Diamondback Terrapin be the official mascot of the university. And of course, if you have the athletic director, the football coach, the baseball coach, and the president all suggesting
It probably, yeah,
it's
you got
going to happen. I don't really know that it was a suggestion as much as like,
this is what we're doing.
hi, Curly Bird here, and we are now the Terrapins.
Hi, I am the university, and we are going to.
So they made a statue that was like, and he came up with testudo, so it's on him. But anyway, the first statue that they made was in bronze, and they donated it to the class of 1933. So it was quite some time ago. And they displayed it on Baltimore Avenue in front of Ritchie Coliseum. And then in 1947, Johns Hopkins students came and they took it. And this thing, Matt, weighed 300 pounds. And so I'm a little confused as to like how many guys did they need to lift that thing out of there? Anyway, they took it and they took it back to Baltimore to their campus, and they put it on like the front lawn of a fraternity. So then Maryland students got like really mad, and they went to go retrieve it from Baltimore. And it was like a huge riot over this bronze Terrapin statue. And they had like 200 campus police that showed up to break up this riot. And finally, like I think it was like the athletic director at Johns Hopkins like called Curly and was like, hey, Curly, I need you to come get this stupid thing off of this fraternity's yard, because apparently they just couldn't sort it out. So they went and got it, filled it with 700 pounds of cement, and then put it on like a pedestal. So now it's more of like a statue kind of thing. And then put it in front of the McKeldin Library. And then it was still getting vandalized like all of the time by visiting people. Everyone has to relax. Okay.
It's just a turtle.
It's just a turtle. Like, it's not even that, like, anyway. So then they moved it to Maryland Stadium, and then they moved it back to be in front of the library in the 60s. And now they have like a bunch of different ones around. And I think they put one out in front of the stadium, like the football stadium. As they're walking in, they all like touch the turtle for, good luck or whatever. Touch the testudo, Matt.
No. No.
Big deal.
No. All right.
What do you know about Maryland outside of all of those fun facts now that I've just filled your brain with? You'll never forget.
Well, the 700 pounds of cement might actually stick with me.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot. That's a lot of weight.
A lot of weight. Good luck taking that, Johns Hopkins. That's the thing from Step Brothers when she's like, he went to Johns Hopkins University. He's a doctor. And he's like, I smoked weed with John Hopkins.
I don't know that movie like you do.
Do you know that movie, John?
I don't remember that.
What? Is it a different? Hold on. Just take a pause for a second.
I would like to eat before he gets here.
Yeah, here it is.
He went to Northwestern and Johns Hopkins. Is that good enough for you?
No, it's not.
Well, Brennan, those are very prestigious schools.
I smoked pot with Johnny Hopkins.
You don't know anyone named Johnny Hopkins.
It's Johnny Hopkins and Sloan Kettering.
Okay, so I'm just going to fast forward this to football. I have no idea how much of that is making the pod.
I really hope it all makes sense.
I have no idea the ramifications of that. Football, the stuff that people
are here for.
I would say that, except for Chris.
Shout out, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. It's a contrast of styles.
Okay.
So only one time have they passed only one time has a starting quarterback thrown the ball less than 30 times in the game.
Wow.
And that one time he was pulled early because they were up 50-6 over UConn. The last 5 games, he's thrown it 55 times, 44 times, 35 times, 50 times, and 51 times.
Oh my goodness.
So they sling it.
These are my least favorite games to watch.
Why?
Because I feel like it takes our defense a little bit of time to adjust to something like that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And this isn't like a shot at them, but I think you could probably, like, they do eventually adjust, but the like doink, doink, doink passes down the field drive me crazy, because it is like frustrating when they're good at it, that it's like 5 yards here, 6 yards there, 3 yards there. You know what I mean?
Well, they're not great at it, but They're
I
decent.
didn't say they were good at it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying when a team is good at it, it's very
Yeah.
frustrating to watch.
And if they're patient enough to continue to do that all the way down the field. But so they like to throw it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They did have some chunk run plays against Rutgers, which was their last opponent. They lost 31-17. And they were up 17-14 in that game, I believe at the start of the third quarter, and then kind of went downhill from there. Rutgers took over. But I'm going to back up to the quarterback. He's 15 touchdowns to 9 picks. He's also thrown an interception in his last 5 games. 2 of those games he threw 2. So he's going to give us an opportunity. I mean, when you're throwing it 55 times, unless you're unbelievably accurate, you're going to give us some of them. So I expect at least 1 or 2 turnovers. They're +1 in the turnover margin. We're +10. And I feel like I bring that up every week, but it's a very important stat.
+10, I feel like, is a lot.
+10 is very good.
Thanks. I don't know why you said that to me. Like,
Well, if we were +12, like against UCLA, if we don't turn it over the 3 times, 2 picks and the fumble, if we're +13 in that margin, we win, right? Easily. But it's all about taking care of the football. That's Iowa football. +10 turnover margin, +1. Like I said, he's thrown a pick in his last 5. We need to take advantage of that. There's going to be opportunities where he's going to try and fit it into a window or force it to a guy because they got a guy, Ty Felton, who has 86 catches, 1,040 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
sheesh.
Yeah, our leading receiver, I think, has 350 yards currently.
Understood.
Contrast the styles. We run the ball, they throw the ball. That's it. So it's just going to be one of those things, contain this guy, make sure that he's not the one that hurts us, make somebody else beat us. Quarterback throwing that many picks just makes me feel like if we take away one guy, we'll be set. Defensively, Rutgers picked on number 20, couple of 4th downs, big plays. They picked on this dude, and his name is Perry Fisher. Just because he comes up and plays press man. They don't play a ton of like true press man. They've zoned a lot of different things depending upon the look. But he's not one of those guys that's going to try and get hands on. He's more of what we would call a shadow guy, meaning he just wants to be your shadow. He doesn't actually like try and get physical. The physical DBs, I think, are always the hardest. But they're also risk takers because if they miss, then you beat them, right? It's that simple. But shadow guys just want to make sure they're with you at all times. Then they hope that bad throw or that they're getting the right position, knock the ball out. So he's more of a shadow guy, but they actually got him on a double post concept similar to what Gill scored on against UCLA, where he did the little step, boom. Actually, Gill didn't score. He got tackled at the 2. If Jackson leads him, he scores. But Rutgers actually ran that exact play, except they didn't have a wheel. It was true man-to-man coverage. So the first guy took his guy out of the picture. So it was press man. He just kind of pushed him outside. Boom, one across his face, scored. They're a forefront. They'll bring some field side pressure in case they feel like they're getting flanked, which is normally where we were running our triple option look with Brendan Sullivan just to give him room. Although we did run one into the boundary with Jackson Stratton, he just kind of missed the throw. So we'll see how much field pressure they bring against us. I wouldn't be surprised if more teams start to run blitz us. And by run blitz us, that means you're blitzing gaps as opposed to like blitzing stunts, if that makes sense. You're not trying to get a pass rush because we're not going to drop back and pass that often, but trying to contain Caleb Johnson's the biggest thing that anybody else has to worry about. So I expect more run blitzes and things of that nature. Just depends on if we can burn them on the back end. As for special teams, they're not great once they get over 40 yards. So this isn't going to be like a UCLA hitting a 57-yarder or Michigan State hitting 90 50-yarders. He's 3 for 8 once you reach that 40-yard threshold. I don't think he's made one from over 50 actually. So got some opportunities that if we bend don't break in that area, if we do lose a little bit of field position, hopefully it doesn't hurt us, as he's shown that he's not as consistent from there. All that being said, do you know how many times I was gone for it on 4th down this year?
1 time. 2 times.
You're close. 5. So it's
Wow.
still in one hand.
I don't remember that.
We feel like that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maryland's gone for it 28 times on 4th down.
Jeez. And how many times did they
13.
succeed?
So they're just under 50%.
Which begs the question, should more teams do that?
I think it's all situational.
Okay.
And it also depends on how good your punter is. I think anytime you're around midfield, I'm more prone to do it. If you're in plus territory, like you're just outside of field goal range, I think you do it. I think if you've got the play or you feel like you've got an advantage in some area and you don't think they can stop you 4 straight times, because they're going to, at that point, they've stopped you 3. I say roll the dice, but I'm a risk taker. I'm very much a risk taker in that sense. But 28 times, which means that you can't just stop on third down, right? You might have to defend all 4 downs. And that's something that we didn't do very good against UCLA. They had a good third down percentage against us. I think they got their first 5 of 6. We just couldn't find a way to get off the field. So that's going to be the major thing in this game is, okay, you got to third down, you stopped them. Can you stop them again? Give our offense good field position depending upon where they are. So different things there than maybe we've seen. A pass-heavy team that goes for it on 4th, kind of more aggressive. They're also sitting at 4 and 6. So that aggressiveness doesn't always turn into something, but just a few things to be aware of on our side.
Okay. Sounds good. What I got from that, Matt, is that I'm really hoping that we have some good, exciting turnovers on the defensive side of the ball.
I do think so. And Deshaun Lee got his first pick a couple weeks ago, hoping that continues to be the case. Teams aren't trying Jamari Harris after he got that pick 6. I feel like he hasn't had many go toward him. I know he had the 1 touchdown against, I believe it was Wisconsin, scored in that south end zone. But for the most part, they don't test him. Quinn Schulte getting another pick. Hopefully we get Jay Higgins back. Nick Jackson flying all over the place. I just feel like we've got a lot of really good pieces. It's just a matter of who's going to be the signal caller on Saturday. You know, when we find that out on Tuesday, I think it'll kind of dictate how the game is called. Obviously, you call the game differently if Cade McNamara's in the game versus if it's Brendan Sullivan. I think it's just a fact. You try to play towards their strengths.
True. Okay. Anything else you want to add? Okay.
I'm good.
Well, you know me, I like to look at the weather. It looks like Saturday, although this is like almost a week away, in College Park is going to be 51 degrees. Actually really lovely for
It's really nice out there.
Mid-November.
Yeah, you know
Have you
what?
been
It
out
was
there?
really nice. Yes, I have. We lost in 2014.
You were doing 2 different conversations there. What?
Yeah. It was a really nice day to put up Christmas lights.
Good job, Matt. You did so great.
Yeah, Dax was lounging in a chair, just watching me, making sure I did it right. It was like your old grandfather that's retired and making sure you're taking over the torch correctly. I wouldn't put that light there. I'm just sitting there eating like a rice cake or whatever it is. I don't know. He just went in and grabbed something.
That's funny. Last night at the No Foot Too Small thing, I shouldn't say thing. It's their biggest event of the year. Their like premier giving event. It was the their
Gala.
annual gala. Do you say
Yeah.
gala or gala?
Gala.
You said gala.
John,
I've heard both. Say gala,
thank you.
I would gala.
but I'm not fancy.
Yeah. It's true, you're not. No, my co-host, because I emceed it last night, my co-host her name's Lisa Schaefer, and she's actually from Wisconsin. And then she got connected to No Foot Too Small for a couple of different things. But their big thing is like, I shouldn't say that. One of their bigger things, like bigger ideas of No Foot Too Small, is that grief and joy can coincide, like they can exist alongside each other. And she's a huge Wisconsin fan, like a big Badgers fan. And so we were kind of like messing with each other on it. And she was talking about like her being a Wisconsin fan or something. What was she saying? It was something about like grief and joy. And then she was like, yeah, like the Hawkeyes and the Badgers being up on the same stage. And I was like, yeah, exactly. Grief. And I pointed at her and then I was like, and joy, and pointed at me. And I was so proud of that. John, was that so funny?
Good.
Thanks. You would have thought it was so stupid, but I thought it was funny.
I laugh at your jokes.
I know,
when
but
I
I-
deserve it.
I just thought it was funny. She's like, it's fine. It's a building year. Ew.
They almost took down Oregon.
Oh,
It was a
really?
tipped ball that stopped. Yeah, it was 16-13.
They actually played really tough against Penn State too.
So
I actually don't not like Wisconsin, but
Oh.
she was just like throwing
Yeah.
jabs and stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'll play along with this.
So
I-
with your skilled mindset of listening to me for however long, talk about football. So Oregon is up 16-13.
Okay.
2 minutes to go. Wisconsin has 1 timeout. It's 4th and 4 on the Wisconsin 20-yard line, roughly. Do you kick the field goal and go up 6 with 2 minutes to go? Or do you go for it and try and end the game right there?
Depends
What
on
would
who your
you do?
defense is.
You've held them to 13 points all game.
I would probably kick the field goal and then rely on my defense. But I also have only watched the Hawkeyes my whole life. I'm going to tell you another thing about me, Matt. Someone says, well, they've got 2 timeouts left. That means nothing to me. I don't understand why people say that. I don't want you to tell me because this is the end of the podcast. We'll save it for next time because it's going to be a long
We're not going to
answer.
save it for next time. You're not even going to ask me. You're going to forget.
I know, but you'll give me a really long answer and we just need to cut it off and be done. Anyway, that's what I would do.
Okay.
So there you have it.
Oregon faked a field goal, got tackled, gave Wisconsin an opportunity. with 1:48, but he got tipped and intercepted, so the game was over.
See? Exactly.
They didn't want to rely on their defense. They tried to be cheeky.
All right.
Either way.
If you are not headed out to College Park, then you got to head out to Big Grove because, as I said, they are the official watch headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes. And there's no better food, there's no better place, no better company than at Big Grove in Solon, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and why do I always forget the last
Des Moines.
in Des Moines. All right, thanks for tuning in. And
Make sure you like, subscribe.
Yeah,
Check out the Talkin Hawks channel on YouTube. Not just the Talk About Network. If you want the full interview, check over at Talkin Hawks.
and that's it.
And that's it.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.